dear friends. Let's take a moment and look at our reference photos now. This is a selection of images I captured a few days ago, and 2 shots are from last summer. Feel free to pause or rewind the video as needed to get a good look at the photos, or check them out in the comment section below. Please don't worry about perfection today. Let's just give it our best shot and enjoy the creative moments together. Alright, now I'm capturing the image of a poppy flower I noticed during our visit to Westminster Abbey last year. Behind the abbey there was a small beautiful garden and much needed relief after standing in long lines to explore this historic site. As you can see, I'm starting by jotting down the rough shape of the poppy flower and the poppy pot nearby. If you are just learning to draw, feel free to pause and take a closer look at the reference photo. Notice the almost elliptical shape of the flower and how it stands slightly off-center. What drew me to this image was the striking contrast of complementary colors. The vibrant red of the flower stood out beautifully against the lush green backdrop, immediately catching my eye. So let's try to create a thumbnail sketch of this moment together and see what we can accomplish. Okay, we are now gently moving on to our next sketch, featuring a violet anemone with its striking dark center. As I look at this flower again, I realize why it drew me in so strongly. It's the beautiful shades of violet paired with the bold contrast of the deep dark center. The petals have a soft, almost velvety texture, and their subtle variations in tone give them so much character that it's hard to ignore. Surrounding the anemones are clusters of delicate white primroses with vibrant yellow centers. These cheerful yellow accents beautifully emphasize the violet anemone, creating a harmonious yet striking contrast in the composition. Our next sketch portrays Magnolia, a tree that begins to bloom during early to mid-winter here in the Bay Area. These flowers have an incredible quality about them. They awaken my senses and fill me with hope for the year ahead. What I love most about magnolias is the contrast between the complex, twisted shapes of their branches and the gentle magenta hues of their blooms. The way the light filters through the petals creates a soft glow, giving them an almost ethereal quality. As I sketch them, I'm focusing on capturing the structure of the branches and the delicate beauty of the flowers. And for our last sketch, I wanted to include my favorite flower of all, sunflowers. I've painted them many times in the past, but this time I simply want to add them as a reminder of warm summer days. Their vibrant yellows and oranges against the blue backdrop never fail to excite me and fill me with joy. Feel free to paint any flower you love in this space. After all, this session is about embracing creativity and enjoying the moment together. Whether it's sunflowers, daisies, or something completely different, let your imagination guide you. to using watercolors. You just saw me write out the colors I wanted to use for the first sketch. I'll do this before painting each thumbnail sketch. It's part of how I prepare my work. I like to take a moment to think through the colors, composition, and shapes before diving in. Then I sketch out the scene, and if I really enjoy it, I'll later paint it on a larger piece of paper. Sharing my process with all of you today brings me so much joy, and I hope it inspires some of you to step outside and sketch beauty that surrounds you every day. Whether it's flowers, trees, or even small details like shadows or textures, I am sure there is so much to discover and capture in your part of the world. As you can see, a thumbnail sketch is a very small and quick piece to paint. The beauty of working on thumbnails is that you don't have to stress about getting your shapes or color choices perfect. These tiny sketches are here for you to practice, play, and experiment. If something doesn't work, that's okay. You can edit, redo, or even start over entirely. Thumbnails are an effective way to test your ideas before committing to a larger piece. They allow you to explore compositions, try out color palettes, and refine your vision without pressure. I hope you'll give thumbnail sketching a try. It's a wonderful way to step outside, observe the world around you, and let your creativity flow freely. You want more? More snuggles. More snuggles. Dear friends, when I announced that I would be creating a video on thumbnail sketches, I was surprised by the positive response from so many of you. It was clear that this lesson resonates with many who are learning to paint in watercolor, and I want to extend my understanding and encouragement to you. Yes, watercolors can be tricky at times, sometimes even seemingly impossible to master. But I want to remind you that, like anything in life, whether it's learning to walk, talk, or read, it takes time and patience to achieve mastery. So, may I suggest this practice as a path you take, full of unexpected twists and turns? The goal is not perfection here, but finding a level of skill and enjoyment that feels right for you. And that level may look different for everyone. Let's embrace this path and enjoy the beauty of learning something new. I hope this video inspires you to keep exploring, experimenting, and growing in your watercolor explorations. And with this small offering of thumbnail sketches, I hope to inspire you to reach some of your creative goals. Whether it's experimenting with watercolors, exploring new compositions, or simply taking a moment to appreciate the beauty around you, I hope this session has sparked something meaningful for you. As you can see, I'm now working on the anemone flower. Like with the other sketches, I'm simply suggesting the form here, rather than over-defining it. I'm adding shadowed areas on the petals, using darker shades of purple to create depth and dimension. The petals are moist at this stage, so it's important to ensure the paper isn't overly soaked with water. This helps prevent the colors from running uncontrollably. The trick here is to balance the moisture content on your brush. Make sure it holds slightly less water than your paper surface. This will give you better control over how the colors blend and flow. As you can see, I'm using ultramarine finest and Windsor yellow to create a variety of greens for the foliage. For the purples, I've mixed ultramarine violet with opera, and occasionally I added ultramarine finest to introduce subtle variations in the purple color. Most importantly, notice how I've deliberately left out white areas to suggest the primrose flowers. Within these areas, I've dropped touches of orange to mimic the vibrant centers typical of primroses. This contrast helps bring the flowers to life. As we've discussed in a previous lesson on the color wheel, yellow and purple are complementary colors. When placed together, they create a striking visual pop that enhances the vibrancy of our flowers. And add to the joy we are having here, we've painted the sky a soft blue, allowing the orange specks to glisten beautifully under the blue backdrop. This contrast is no coincidence. Blue and orange are complementary colors, sitting opposite each other on the color wheel. This relationship is what gives us such a striking visual effect. As I write down the list of colors we've used for our sketch, I want to take a moment to thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching and for writing heartwarming comments. As some of you may know, I started this channel a little over a year ago after my nursing career came to an unexpected end due to chronic pain and disability from being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. It was a difficult transition, but life led me to create this channel as a creative outlet, and I've cherished every minute of it. And sharing my art and process with you has brought me so much joy and purpose, and I truly hope that in some small way I've been able to help you. Let's continue creating together, finding beauty in the everyday and supporting one another along the way. As you can see, we are still working on the first layer of the Magnolia sketch. I've mixed pale grey browns and pale grey greens to depict the intricate branches, giving them a natural feel. For the background, I've chosen a warm yellow-orange tone to create a glowing contrast that complements the magenta of the Magnolias. The Magnolia petals will predominantly feature magenta. To brighten the magenta, I'll occasionally add opera, and to darken it for deeper shadows, I'll mix in ultramarine. I'll be playing with these colors throughout the piece, creating various mixes to bring depth and vibrancy to the sketch. Sometimes I'll reach for transparent brown to add variation to the color of the branches. You may be wondering about the supplies I'm using today. I've deviated from my usual brushes and opted for a small round brush that I received as a gift many years ago. Although it doesn't reflect current sizing standards, it feels equivalent to a size 3 round. For finer details, I'm using my smallest round brush, which is size 1. The smaller brushes suit well for our thumbnail sketches since they allow for precision in such a compact space. If I were painting on a larger scale, I'd use larger brushes to hold more pigment and water. As for paper, I'm working in a Pentalic watercolor sketchbook today. You can use any watercolor paper that supports wet-on-wet techniques and holds up well to layering. As for the colors, you can see that I use a variety of artist-grade pigments from different brands. And the palette you see here is actually one of my very first palettes my husband gifted to me as a birthday present. Gosh, maybe 12 or 14 years ago. Even though some of the colors have dried up over time, I still use this palette occasionally and refill the wells with the colors I use the most. So I want to emphasize that you don't need this exact palette to achieve great results. Please feel free to use whatever equivalents you have at home. What matters most is not the brand or specific colors, but your willingness to play, experiment and explore the wonderful nature of watercolors with the supplies you have at hand. We've now moved on to the poppy flower in our series. I approached this flower slightly differently. First, I indicated a few blades of grass in the background to give the composition some structure. Then I applied a pale wash of Winsor yellow in the areas where the leaves and grasses would eventually be. This initial layer helps set the tone and guides the placement of elements in the scene. Next, I began working on the first wash of the poppy flower itself. As I painted, I realized that metallic dark felt too cool for this flower's vibrant warmth. If I were to paint it again, I'd choose something warmer and brighter, yet still transparent. Colors like pyrrole red or pyrrole scarlet would be excellent alternative for capturing the poppy's lively hues. As you can see, I'm leaving areas unpainted inside the poppy flower to preserve the lightest lights and suggest the delicate inner structures of the flower. With watercolor, we often leave areas unpainted when we want to depict light or highlights, as the transparency of the medium allows us to create this effect naturally. You can also use masking fluid to block out areas like the pistil and stamens if you want to protect those details while painting. However, I find masking fluid a bit tedious to use, especially on such a small scale. Instead, I prefer to carefully paint around these areas. Take your time with this step. It may feel counterintuitive at first, but with time you will learn to pause and paint around the highlights. And by preserving those light areas, you will learn to create depth and dimension in your watercolor pieces. You saw me pre-wet the sky area and charge a pale wash of blue to suggest a breezy summer sky. The first wash in the middle ground was a soft yellow, which subtly hints to viewers how warm and inviting the day really is. We've now painted the inner coloration of the poppy flower and added shadows using variations of dark purples. As you can see, when we introduced this contrast, the flower truly came to life. This is because in painting, values, meaning the lightness and darkness of colors, are incredibly important. By carefully balancing light and shadow, our eyes can better interpret the shapes and structure of the flower, making it feel more dimensional and realistic. This approach also enhances the composition of the entire piece, helping all the elements work together harmoniously. And now we've arrived at our fifth and final sketch. As I mentioned before, feel free to sketch any flower you love here. The space is yours to explore. For me, I've chosen sunflowers, a personal favorite, to let my mind and hand fly freely. I want to play with their vibrant yellows and oranges against a soft blue sky and simply enjoy the process without overthinking it. Throughout today's session, we've explored different flowers and techniques together, from the delicate Iceland poppies glowing in the morning light to the vibrant violet anemone surrounded by cheerful primroses. We captured the graceful magnolias with their twisted branches, the striking red poppy with its complementary greens and purples, and now these joyful sunflowers that remind me of warm summer days. As we work through each thumbnail sketch, we embrace the value of experimentation, playing with colors, preserving light areas, and building depth through values. I hope you leave this session with the feeling that these thumbnail sketching exercises are not about perfection, but about learning, exploring, and having fun with watercolors. I hope this video inspires you to step outside, notice the beauty around you, and sketch what speaks to your heart, whether it's flowers in your garden or scenes from your imagination. Thank you for joining me today, my dear friends. It's been such a pleasure to share this time with you. Please feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below. I'm always happy to help you. Until next time, keep creating, keep exploring, and most importantly, be kind to yourselves. I will see you very soon.